So with Catherine heading off to her own errands, it's time for us to continue on with ours as we head off to the research and development area of Katorga 12. Now with these beasts baying behind us, I think it's time for us to head underwater here and deal with our first swimming section of the game. We will be dealing with more of them in the future, but they're nothing too great to deal with. You can see our oxygen meter at the top there as we head back underneath the water, as we also examine some of the corpses that apparently tried to get away. But it seems like Demichev's forces have kind of met with their own ill fate. More than likely at the hands of whatever we're hearing roaring and screaming around us. We'll be getting a better view of those things in just a second. For right now, there's a few items that we want to go ahead and collect. Not really certain if this is future meals or just signs to other intruders that a rather grisly fate is waiting for them. Either way, I think it's for the best we get going out of here as quickly as possible. Yeah, these enemies are quite a bit different from the mutants we've run into so far. But we're just going to be reintroduced to weapon tech and the weapon locker that we ran into during that sniping section. This note right here is just saying that some of the paper pushers are being resectioned off to, I guess, collect E99 ore. Guess they might have been running out of workers down in the mine for some reason. But since Catherine was not well equipped enough to give us something better than a Centurion, I guess it's a good reason to show off the weapons locker. Like I said before, it carries most of the weapons we've already unlocked over the course of the game, so might as well equip our Valkyrie and Folks. And that way we'll be well equipped for what's coming up ahead. We can also use our weapon tech to upgrade our weapons. We already have 2, but I'm actually going to hold off on that until a little bit later.
Be careful. The radiation unleashed by the Singularity has mutated the people who used to live here. Keep your eyes open for them.
It's a bit disconcerting that these new mutants, or zeex as they are called, are not actually being too aggressive with us right now. Whether that's them just scoping us out before making their attack, or quite possibly just playing with us, it's rather hard to say. But with the sheer amount of mangled corpses around, it doesn't seem like they're too ill-disposed to take care of any intruders. Another ill-fitting Chrono echo. We'll actually be learning more about those three gentlemen as we continue through this outside area. Now you may be wondering why I'm not actually trying to fire at any of these zeex right now, but you can't actually kill any of them right now. They're mostly just popping in and out to try and be imposing to us, try to scare us a little bit, but we're real men, we're not easily frightened, are we?
There were 12 of us. We sought shelter in the nearby warehouse when the Singularity exploded. But then those things found us. There are only 3 of us left now. We have to get off this island.
As you could assume, the 3 that we saw before are those 3 that are being referred to in the audio log, but that's our first zeex down. Not too difficult to take care of, but normally they don't come one at a time, so they do definitely have strength in numbers, and they have another defining factor that we'll be seeing in just a second. But with this chessboard here, we also have this note documenting the end of a long-distance game. Apparently, the guy that was here didn't really come out as the winner.
We've either lost the monsters or they grew bored with us. We're safe for now. Pavel twisted his ankle and we fear it is broken. We'll rest here for tonight. As luck would have it, our little haven has a chess set and a stash of vodka. All the comforts of home.
Alcoholism actually became a pretty predominant problem in the USSR, especially with the relative excess availability of vodka. But you see one of the other special abilities of the zeex. When you try to focus in on them, especially with the zoomed in focus of the assault rifle or the sniper rifle, they'll start to teleport around and try to get, behind you. It can be kind of shifty to deal with. But this is the research facility, or the main building I should say. Obviously, Dimichev icons are in full effect here. There's also a few weapons laying around for us, but I made sure to pick the best weapons for the job. Also just wanted to make sure and focus on a few signs. I wasn't trying to overlook them before, but, showing the combinations. Well, it looks like we got more company waiting for us. So this is how we will normally be seeing the zeex in the future, in numbers and trying to circle around us. You can also see outside of their normal teleporting, they also have the ability to phase in and out of existence, allowing for them to become immune to any attacks. Thankfully, if you do remain aware of your surroundings and you don't let them overwhelm you, a couple of shotgun blasts will easily take care of them. Still, hearing their constant roars everywhere can be a bit disconcerting. You're not always sure when and from what direction you may actually be attacked. Thankfully, with some skill, Renko can actually overtake them by just using the knife. I wouldn't really recommend that avenue, but it's there if you do happen to run out of bullets.
The vault you're searching for contains a device called the TMD. It was invented by Dr. Barisov, one of the scientists who worked here in the 50s.
So now, as we enter into the main research building, hopefully we can escape from the zeex for just a little bit. Also see some nice art of Stalin and Lenin. And this poor chap that apparently got a electric fan through the face.
There's no time. They're almost in. Please. I don't want to die like that. I'm so sorry. No.
Hopefully that wasn't the guy that failed at chess as well, because who enjoys a string of bad luck that bad? Some of these plaques along the wall definitely illustrating how E99 was seen as something of a divine resource to these people and their research. So we got a note here. It's basically just outlining that there has been a rather large increase of soldiers and scientists at the facility, though that was dated 1953, which was pretty much around the time when E99 was first found. But our opening has been made available. Before we go that way though, a little secret area off to the side here to get some more E99. And it looks like there's a smorgasbord of violence waiting for us ahead. First though, we got another little E99 cache waiting for us back here.
According to the Mir 12 journal, there's a hidden entrance in this building that leads to the vault. Find it.
And there are a few interesting paintings waiting for us along the, or pictures I should say, waiting for us along the walls here. Probably illustrating some of the original founders for the Katorga 12 research facility. But we are going to get some assistance in this coming battle with the Cryo tanks. Before we get to that fight though, there's yet more E99 waiting for us. But if you can assume from having canisters of liquid nitrogen, it's rather handy in freezing our enemies. And what's even more helpful is that some of these nice zeex are nice enough to spawn in with some explosive barrels for us to shoot above their heads. You do have to be careful though, as you are just as susceptible to the cryo tanks as the enemy. Thankfully, you do manage to get out of them before they do. And with the use of cryo tanks, that crisis is easily averted. And there are quite a few little E99 stashes waiting around this room. We will be seeing this room yet again in a rather different light. For right now though, it's obviously in a disheveled state.
The test subject's increase in muscle tissue density can only be attributed to the E99 isotopes that were...
This facility is under lockdown.
What? Are you crazy? What is the meaning of this?
There has been a security breach. Come with me.
Who gave you the authority to do this?
I did.
Dr. Demichev. You know that Dr. Barisov will not stand for...
I will take care of Dr. Barisov. He's a traitor to Mother Russia. You two, round them up and find the device. You know where it is? Tell me.
Demichev will rot in hell before I tell you anything!
If you want to stay alive, you will do as you're told.
Demichev is wasting his time. He thinks thugs like you can cover up the truth.
So obviously there was a breakdown between Demichev and Barisov's loyalists on the island. We can only assume, though, that Demichev had firearms and real numbers on his side, as opposed to Barisov's probably more brainy counterparts. But this note here is just the first indications that they've found out that E99 has some very positive effects on the physiology of different living subjects. And this kind of looks like the main research facility of this gentleman. And that was Barisov. That was also the first time that a Chrono echo has actively affected something in the tangible world. Most of the time they've just been echoes and spirits running around, but that one actually opened up that elevator for us. And we'll be finding out more about what that is in probably the next episode.
This is the work log of Dr. Viktor Barisov. My suspicions that E99 could alter time are proving true. In our last experiment, a corn seed grew to maturity in just 3 days. The implications are staggering. Dr. Demichev has urged me to test E99's effects on humans. I, of course, refused.
Apparently, it's not a good idea to disagree or go against whatever Demichev says. But right here's a little Easter egg. Yeah, that can catch you by surprise pretty easily. And I assume it's just supposed to be some dark humor put in from the developer. But welcome to one of the first prototype mines for finding E99. That right there you want to be very careful with. We'll be dealing with that in just a second. First we have a note to look at. Basically just Barisov saying that he was going to cut off access to this particular E99 mine. He's going to start using it for his own personal use. But you want to be very careful with those. Those are almost living trip mines. And if you go through any of those little wires of pure E99, it'll set off a small, hurtful explosion. But if you just shoot through the lines themselves, they will quickly be broken. We also start to see examples of plant life that have become in direct contact with E99. They start to take on that rather large glow. This note is basically just saying the same thing. Also that the plants affected by E99 become affected by other sources of E99, like a beam weapon or something. And we have entered what appears to be a secret underground compartment.
Your signal's off the grid, so I'm guessing you found the vault. It contains the device Demichev killed your friend for, the TMD.
Well, that's gotta be a good thing, I suppose. This note here is just yet again Barisov saying that there's a lot of E99 here in the mines for him to use in his secret experiments. And this is the first example of notes we'll be seeing over the course of the game that are actually imprinted from E99 material. Here we see some prototype or diagrams for a handheld device. Not sure what that is just yet. But it could easily be the TMD that Barisov is referring to in that note.
Greetings, esteemed colleagues and members of the Politburo. My name is Dr. Victor Barisov, and I am head of research for Katorga 12. Investigation into E99 is proving more fruitful than I had dared hope. The most recent discovery is that the element can be used to change the time state of items. This is test trial 143 of the time manipulation device, or TMD as it is more commonly referred to. As you can see, the TMD is able to revert items to their original state, or rapidly age them. Care must be taken not to point the device at a living creature. The effect is very unpleasant. I have already begun working on a smaller version of the device. Unfortunately, the TMD will only work on objects that are imbued with E99. I am making great strides in my research and will continue to do so. To communist victory!
So it can be pretty evident that Barisov definitely did not have the same plans for the TMD as Jim Dimichev would have had for it, which is why he had this secret laboratory built for himself. But we still need to find a vault, and this looks like a vault to me.
Hello, I am Dr. Barisov, and this is Moscow Initiative Research Project, Film Log 19, relating to potential applications of the time manipulation device. Now, the device, or TMD as I come to refer to it, uses...
Not exactly sure what we should do here, but it looks like we can shove our armor in here, so let's try it out, I guess. We have the TMD now at our disposal. With some rather unexpected effects, I should say. But with that, it's time to get the hell out of here. See you next time.